How's it going?
Hey, good.
Um, so when you walked out of Nats Park after the last day of the season, were you thinking to yourself, I'm probably coming back here? There's a good chance, or you kind of thinking I might be headed elsewhere next year?
I was hopeful that I would come back. I was really hopeful. I mean, I really loved it there. My family really loved it in DC and Virginia, and I was hopeful that we would come back. But also knowing that, it was sad. It was sad because knowing that, like, you never know what's going to happen in free agency, and so I'm thankful that I was able to sign back and be here for another, at least 2 years, and I'm thankful that we are here.
So what was the process like? Was it they expressed interest right away? Did you have to kind of wait it out a while and see what else might be out there?
Both and there was definitely mutual interest right when the off season started. But Mike was also like, you've earned the right to go explore free agency. We were going to try and make something happen immediately once the off season started. Um, and then it was just kind of waiting and seeing. We would always talk, and we continued the conversation throughout the entire off season. And then it came to a head, and you know, super thankful that we were able to make it work.
Andrew Golden.
Trevor, welcome back. I wanted to ask, I guess last year you had some time, obviously, because you were injured. Is there anything that you maybe learned about yourself last year with that time off that you hadn't learned, just given the hustle and bustle of how long a season can be and pitching every fifth day and those sort of things?
And I just learned, how to rehab and like how to take the daily wins instead of trying to, finish my rehab in a week, knowing that it was going to be a long process. So, I'm thankful that the training staff kept my head on straight because I was, there were times where I just was banging my head into the wall because I was just sick and tired of the monotony of the rehab. But I'm thankful that we were able to come out of this injury strong and prove that I was healthy and made those last two starts. And thankful I got that opportunity, and thankful that I get to see the trainers again for the next couple of years.
I guess as you reflect on last year and how your season went, maybe what are your takeaways from last year, and how do you feel you can kind of build off of last year heading into this year?
Um, the cool thing about being able to pitch at this level is that you have to continue to adapt. And there were some things I did last year that I was successful with, and you hope that change or that pitching plan can continue its success. But the league will make adjustments back, and especially pitching in the same division again. I'm going to see a lot of those same hitters in the same lineups. So taking what I was what I had success with last year and bringing it into this year and seeing what works, and stuff that I've been working on so far this offseason is going to be huge. And I'm just looking forward to having those battles again with those hitters.
Spencer.
Hey Trevor, nice to see you again. In that kind of same vein, when you think about the work that you did with Doolittle and Hickey, in conjunction with the work you've been doing with this offseason, can you walk us through what the offseason plan has been, and what your initial conversations with the coaches have been like?
Sure. I'm not gonna give away too much of my hand, right? But it all goes back to, it's pitch design and pitch usages. I think there's some definite low-hanging fruit with my repertoire, what I can supplement to my my pitching plans. And we've already had, I've had the conversations with those guys already. When we found out that I was coming back, we started those conversations. And there were conversations we had at the end of last year too, saying like, if you come back, this is what we see, how we can help you improve. And, we agreed on certain things. And I'm just glad that, we had that continuity where, I know the coaching staff, I know our pitching development team. And I'm thankful that we can just continue that conversation instead of, ripping, kind of severing ties with the Nats and, implementing that somewhere else and seeing what we can do. So the continuity of having Hickey and Doolittle is huge.
And perhaps a question you can answer more directly. Continuity with them, with the training staff as well. How much of a factor did that end up being in your decision?
It was one of the many factors, for sure. The continuity for my family was huge. They made lifelong friends in DC and Virginia, and when we had to when we were coming down to the finish line with some teams, that definitely factored into that decision.
Just Camerado.
Hey Trevor, welcome back.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, because I know you've pitched in a few different roles in your career, what have the Nationals told you that your role would be in this new contract?
I'll be starter, and then we're keeping the door open for like second base, shortstop too, but definitely starting pitcher.
What excites you the most about the starting rotation next year?
What excites me the most is seeing the step forward that everyone will take going forward. Seeing Mitch in his second year is going to be awesome. Seeing DJ how he responds after pitching most of the year in the big leagues is going to be huge. And seeing how the guys have been so excited. We keep up with each other pretty much every day, and like what guys have been working on in the off season. The last week of the season, what guys are so excited to start working on in the off season in the weight room, off the mound, etc. So it's gonna be fun to watch that first week of camp and see how excited everyone is to like show off their new toys, right? Those guys taking steps forward, and then that I'm just able to be a small part of that, and watch them as teammates, watch them as friends, and be able to be in the rotation with them as they're continuing their growth at the big league level to where they're going to be in successful spots to hopefully help the Nationals win another World Series.
Mark.
Hey, so when you signed your last time around, you're joining a team coming off a 100-loss season. This time around, I know it's still not a winning record, but there's a feeling that the franchise is, moving a different direction and made some real progress. For you, how important is the idea of helping take this franchise now to another step? That you're not being asked to eat innings on a bad team, but to kind of help this team now become a winning team again.
Yeah, I think there's no denying the growth that we've made in the last 2 years. And there's no denying, seeing the guys in the pipeline, the guys that we've called up the last 2 years, the immediate impact that they've had on this team. I'm thankful that, Davey and Mike trust me in this spot and in this role to be, to help guys to get to the best of their ability. Um, and I'm really excited about what these next 2 years are going to look like. If you were to tell me what we were going to do 2 years ago over the last 2 years with this team, I would have been really proud of taking a step back at the end of 2024 and being real proud of what we did in 2023 and 2024. I wish we could fast forward to at the end of 26, where we know this is what we did in the last 2 years. I'm looking forward to the building blocks that we've created and what it's going to look like in the next 2 years, because I firmly believe in the guys in the clubhouse, the guys that are on the field, especially that have been making these adjustments and knowing that they're really good big leaguers and they're going to be bona fide big leaguers and perennial all-stars. And I'm excited to be a small part of that.
Obviously, when you were healthy last year, the numbers spoke for themselves of how well you pitched, but you did miss that large chunk. In the last year, how much have you thought about and gotten an idea of what it takes to not just stay productive, but now stay on the mound, pitching that level for 30 starts?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that sometimes it takes an injury to take a step back and say, what happened, right? Like, how do you reverse engineer or diagnose what happened to get that injury happen? So, unfortunately, the injury happened, but it made me open my eyes to like maybe I wasn't strong enough in certain positions. Maybe my delivery wasn't as clean as it could have been. And the best ability that any player can have is availability, right? So if I'm pitching and it's 30 starts, that's very valuable to a team. And when I'm at my best, 30 starts at my best is very valuable to a team. And I've done everything I can this offseason to put myself in the best position. Now injuries happen; they can happen at any moment. But now after the injury and what I now kind of understand why I got injured, I'm doing everything that I can to let that not happen again.
Spencer.
Yeah, looking back over your starts last year, a lot of them had the same sort of formula, 5 innings, 80 pitches, one earned run. For you, do you have a sense of how long your starts might go next year? Have you had conversations about what that might look like yet, or is that something that's kind of still in the works?
I imagine, Davey and I will chat about what it's going to look like next year. 80 pitches to me is, that should be the floor of every start, right? I believe that, and I'm confident enough that I can, get to that 100 pitch mark every time I take the ball now. I think I'm going to be in a stronger position now to be able to do that. And if that's what Davey asks of me, I'm going to do that. And if Davey asks me to go do the same thing, 80 pitches, 5 innings, if he wants me to do that, I'll take the ball and do the best that I can every 5 days. So I imagine it's going to be an ongoing conversation throughout the year to get me into the best spot to succeed for the team.
When you say you're in a stronger position to maybe reach 100 pitches consistently, what in your body is telling you that you're kind of ready to hit that gas?
Just knowing what I've done in the past and that I'm capable of doing it. If we had another month or two to the season, could I have gotten to that threshold more? Yeah, but we just ran out of time. And I was getting to that spot before I got hurt too, right? Davey was very clear with me at the beginning of the year. It's like, look, we want you to hit 100 pitches and shoot through that later in the season. We don't need you throwing 100 pitches right now in April, when the games are, not as meaningful as games at the end of the year. And unfortunately, the injury kind of threw a wrench into that. But the guys that stepped up, and started throwing, 6+ every start was huge. And I hope that I can do that for the guys this year if and when that happens. If and when an injury happens. I'm looking forward to that opportunity that I can step up like the guys did for me this past year.
Andrew.
I know you mentioned last offseason that maybe you started long tossing a little bit earlier, maybe change your routine to try to prepare yourself for a longer season. Do you feel like you changed anything about your routine this offseason to prepare for this upcoming season?
Yeah, every offseason you change. Every offseason you're trying to adapt. And what worked for me when I was a 24-year-old isn't necessarily going to work for me when I'm 32. And I'm just trying to find these little wins every day to, little wins in my routine and my strength training, my long toss, and my diet that is going to keep me on the field for as long as possible. Like I want to play for another 10 years, right? And if I can find ways that I can put my body and my brain in a good spot where I can do that for another 10 years, then I'm going to do that. So just making these little adjustments that I've seen the benefits of it already in just this one short off season. So now we can go into the year and it could completely be wrong, but I think I put myself in a good spot to be successful this year, and then next year we'll attack the offseason when it comes.
Anything else?
I also wanted to ask, I know you went to Arizona State and you thought on the game yesterday and the way it ended.
We were just talking about this earlier. I watched 20 minutes of the game because we don't have ESPN, so I got like the YouTube TV 20-minute free. So I was watching the game cast and I turned it on, and that after the second missed field goal, we ran out of time, and I'm like, I don't want to pay, for YouTube TV and do that, and because I'm not going to cancel the free trial because I'll forget. So I watched on Gamecast the rest of the game.
Anything else? All right, welcome back, Trevor. Excited to have
Thank
you.
you guys. See you in spring.
Thanks for coming on. We'll see everyone down in West Palm.
Peace.